ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. I'm just kidding. My name's Jesus. I was born and raised in El Paso, Texas. I went to school there, right? Elementary school, middle school, high school, and currently I'm attending college. UTEP, University of Texas at El Paso, studying mechanical engineering. Feels like it is a degree that's taking forever to attain, but working hard at it. Anyways, so I just want to, say my feelings. What's called so a week ago, right, on Monday, a police officer in Minneapolis, Minnesota, killed a American citizen that happened to be black, right? Mr. George Floyd, in a horrible way. I saw the video. I wish I hadn't. I should have just stuck with the images I had seen. But nope, I saw the video. And it is a video that really, sticks with you because you just can't believe you saw that, right? Someone saying, after being, already not posing a threat to any type of authority or any type of figure, on the floor, handcuffed, and yet a police officer was, putting his knee on his neck and just not letting go. And then, his partner, which just happened to be an Asian guy, an Asian American, not doing nothing about it, not telling nothing to this white American citizen cop. Anyways, so look, there's a lot of things that I have to say, and I don't know if you're gonna see the whole video, but let me try to start. So we have to understand that we, as Americans, as being part of the United States of America, we are a country of immigrants. This means, we have so many, diverse races from all over the world. And that's something that's actually really cool. Every country does have diversity, but there are some countries, of course, that have a lot more than others. But the problem, at least what I think, that happens in the US is that we become so obsessed with the race, the diversity of every single person individually, that we stop seeing ourselves as a whole and start seeing ourselves as, different entities. Example, a black American, right? A Latino American, an Asian American, a white American, right? And Muslim American. It doesn't matter, the list goes on and on. Native American, right? Hawaiian American, Alaskan Native, it doesn't matter. We're obsessed with this division that's been taught to us ever since we were in elementary school, right? I remember in elementary school filling out forms having to put that I'm Latino, or that I'm Hispanic, or that I'm non-white, or other people having to put that they're black, right? That they're Native American, Asian American. I think the worst was the people that had to put other. Like, imagine that, like, just the psychological, things that must be going through your head when a country considers you as other. But anyways, a country shouldn't consider you as any of these. There's 197 countries in this planet, right? Of course, if some people consider territories, etc., there's going to be more than 200. But anyways, and these countries don't ask you these questions when you apply for a job, when you apply for a scholarship, right? When you're applying to get a master's or to go to a certain university. Other countries are not so obsessed with knowing the color of your skin, with knowing, what kind of race are you? I mean, they might ask you your citizenship, right? And of course, if you're American, if you're Mexican, French, Italian, I don't know, Nigerian, Indian, Saudi Arabian, Iranian, it doesn't matter. Like, they they want to know your citizenship, but other than that, that's the end of it. We're so obsessed with dividing ourselves, and I think that's where the problem starts. See, there's a lot of people that are for it. I'm totally against it. There's this thing called affirmative action, which is pretty much the reason why we're asked all these questions. Because it was a law. If you don't know about affirmative action, it was a law that was put in place to combat racism, right? To give up job opportunities and scholarship opportunities to minorities, to people and races that otherwise would have probably not had that opportunity. And when this law was put into effect, it was pretty amazing. If you do see the statistics, though, the people that took most advantage of it were white women, because women were also fighting, to have equal opportunities and jobs, equal pay, something that they're still fighting for in many countries, including the United States. But anyways, so I think that's where our problem starts. This obsession with division. It's disgusting. Like, why do you need to divide? Why do you need to divide? You see these other countries, right? I mean, yeah, there's always going to be this racism in every single country, right? I don't know, take Mexico, for example. They're so obsessed with the color of your skin. Well, just like in any country, but, if you're lighter skinned, you're more, bonito, que güerito. If you're darker skinned, ay, prieto, ay, moreno. So there is this obsession with racism that is, I don't know why, but it is part of the human race, like in general. Like, humans like to, point out these differences. But the difference from all these other countries, whether it be Brazilian, there's the black Brazilians, there's white Brazilians, Colombian, I don't know, South African, there's black South Africans and white South Africans. The difference is that these countries, these diversities are just part of society, right? Like, people know you're white, people know you're black, but that's the end of it. In the United States of America, we emphasize it, right? That might be the reason you get a job, because they needed an African American, they needed a Latino American. How many scholarships, actually most scholarships in our country are racist based? Now, racism doesn't necessarily have to mean, the majority of, oppressing the minority. Racism could just mean, that you're so obsessed with your race, that you want to make sure that your race sticks, or your race, is known. So, example, how many scholarships are there that are only for Latinos or Africans, right? Or only for Asians, only for Native Americans? How many? So many. Actually, most scholarships are based out of that, are based out of some type of racism. Now, how many clubs, organizations, for those of you that are in college, are racist based, right? Like in engineering, there's the, MAES, right? The Mexican Society of Mechanical Engineers. I don't know. There's also SHEP, the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, SHPE. All these little organizations. There's a lot more in college, but all these, like, why are they so racist based? See, so we're taught ever since we're little, because of affirmative action, to obsess over this division. And instead of considering ourselves as a whole American, regardless of your color, no, we divide ourselves from the beginning. White American, Black American, Latino American, Asian American, Native American, and it's horrible. So I think this is where the problem starts. You get this problem, and you continue, as a kid, as me, that I lived through it, or growing up, you're taught this, right? Always consider yourself Latino American. you know, Chicano American, which I'm totally against the word Chicano in general, but you know, Chicano American. You know, this is just obsession. So as you're growing up, you're taught to divide yourself, not to feel part of the whole, not to feel as American, but to feel as a Black American or as a Latino American. And this causes problems because then you can't associate or feel that you're part of another organization when you are part of it, because it's all one country. So then you start seeing that in high school, right? In college. I mean, ask all your military friends. Most military friends see this division, right? But because we were taught this since we were little, you know, just hang out with your little Black friends, just hang out with your Latino friends. And even though you might want to say you were not taught that, we were, because every single time we got a paperwork to sign, every single time we had to apply for a scholarship, we had to put that. So it was always drilled into us. So now going back to George Floyd, a horrible cop, you know, happened to be white, decided to do a horrible act and sit, you know, and knee on an American citizen's neck that happened to be Black, and the cop's partner that happened to be Asian American didn't do nothing to stop it. And this really pissed off a lot of people, not just in the US, which of course, like most people that were pissed off were in the US, but all over the world. And it's understandable. Like, he was saying, I can't breathe. He was not a threat to the police officer the moment he hit the floor with his hands cupped. And yet the police officer stayed there. And all these protests that are going on, they're very, very, they're very, very well-deserved protests that should be happening, that are happening, are currently happening, because we as Americans in general are sick and tired of it. But the worst thing is, I don't think we know why we're sick and tired of it. We just know we are, because we do see a difference, right? We do see a distinction. And you feel it, right? You can see it. You know, you can see it in the statistics and who gets arrested and who gets a job and who gets a scholarship. And so we have this hatred, I know it's a strong word, but as much as people don't want to admit it, we have this hatred in us. And it creates what's happening right now. What's been happening ever since the 90s, when the US started having mass shootings, you know, starting from, I don't know, every other year to 2 times a year to 1 time every month, you know, to what it is now. And that's the problem. We need to stop looking at ourselves as different types of races, because there's only one race, of course. It is the human race. But if we're one country, then we're only one people. We're not one people that's part of many. No, we're one people, no matter the color of your skin. Affirmative action should be totally eradicated. Like, it shouldn't fucking exist anymore. Someone should get a job, someone should get a scholarship because they deserve it, because they have the grades for it. Not because, you know, they need, you know, a company or a school needs to prove that they're not racist by having an African American student or a Latino American student or whatever. But anyways, so that's a big problem, right? Now, I think another reason why the protests have gone so horribly bad is because a lot of people have been quarantined for 2 months. Some people don't have jobs. Some people couldn't apply or didn't get unemployment benefits. And of course, like, regardless of whether you got unemployment benefits or not, being quarantined does make people kind of crazy. I think it's made me crazy. So this happens, and it just, you know, the craziness of quarantine, the craziness of not, you know, being able to go out and drink and go out with friends, and then the craziness of seeing another police brutality again, you know, after just all the police brutality stories we've heard about, all the innocent people that have been shot at when they shouldn't have been shot, you know. And of course, like, I don't want to say, but all these bad people that did bad things, you know, these mass shooters that were treated very well by authorities when they got arrested. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be treated that way. I'm saying that everyone should be treated that way, right? Because it's not a police officer's job to what a police officer's job is to enforce the law. It's the courts to decide, what will happen to that human being, not police officers. But anyways, so then I think another reason why we're seeing these horrible videos of these protesters burning buildings and hitting cop cars, and honestly just this hatred now towards, like, I don't want to say it, but even towards the United States in general and what it represents, is all this combined, but we just don't understand it. We don't understand we're being racist when we accepted a job because of affirmative action, or we're being paid, our college is being paid for by the Society of Mexican Professionals, or I don't know, I'm just making up names, but most scholarships are based on on racist things, on minorities. I don't know, the migrant farm worker program. Have you heard of that? It's about migrant Latinos. Yeah, the migrant farm worker, but the Latino or the Hispanic migrant farm worker, programs, where you need to be a farmer, you need to be Hispanic or Latino, and of course you need to be poor to get your college paid for. See programs like that. Why do you need to put Latino in there? Why can't you just put, farm worker? Because there's farm workers of every type of race. But no, that program only goes to Hispanics or to Latinos. That's kind of like what I'm saying. This obsession with dividing ourselves, it does bad things. It really does. People don't realize it, but it does bad things. It puts this division in our heads, and it just continues, and it just worsens. And we've seen it worsen. Like, someone needs to explain to me why mass shootings are occurring more and more. Being from El Paso, I can't believe 2 mass shootings happened in a 12-hour span. Imagine that, 2 mass shootings at a Walmart in El Paso and in Ohio. Like, how does that even happen? It's this obsession with dividing ourselves, and then once we're divided, and once we don't feel that we're one America, that we're all these separate Americas,